Hey everybody, it's Mr. Mott. What we're going to do is go through our percent yield lab with our copper sulfate pentahydrate, otherwise known as blue vitriol. I've got a beaker on my balance so that my test tube doesn't roll off there, and I tared it out or zeroed it out. So my mass of my test tube, which we need to write down, is 7.78 grams. Okay, we're going to add about 0.5 grams of our copper sulfate into it, okay? All right, so we're at 7.78. So see if I can do the math here. It should be around 8.28. Let's see how I did. Pretty good. All right, so the mass of my my test tube plus my copper sulfate, 8.32 grams. Now it's time to heat this up, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and put this in a test tube clamp, and then I'm going to light my Bunsen burner, and we're going to get started here. Here's my Bunsen burner. Go ahead and light that. All right. So I've got a nice blue flame. Might be hard to tell with the lighting here. And I've got my copper sulfate in there, and pointing the test tube away from anybody, pointing it at the sink. You might be able to hear some sizzling happening here. Notice that when I'm doing this, I'm not holding the test tube like vertically like this. A couple reasons. One, I want that steam to be going away from anybody. And then the second reason would be that it limits how much my test tube clamp is getting hot. That's going to be important later because, as you may notice, we see some steam coming out of the test tube, but what we have is that some of that water vapor is condensing at the mouth of the test tube, and we actually need to heat that up, and which is actually going to get our clamp hot a little bit as well. All right. Besides the water vapor, that steam coming out that we notice, the other thing to kind of recognize here is that we have a color change happening with the solid. And that color change is going from a blue to more of a whitish color. Kind of see that a little bit closer there. Okay. And so two indications a chemical reaction is happening, and then also would give us an idea when this is done reacting. Okay. I see a lot of my solid turning white, and so I'm actually going to try to heat up some of that steam in the mouth of the test tube there and drive that away. Try to dry all that part out there, and then I'll go back to heating the bottom to make sure that all of that steam is gone. All right, so I have a color change, and then I also have driven off all the water there. I think I'm about done heating. It probably wouldn't hurt anything if I heated it longer. I don't think I'm going to have an additional reaction or anything like that, but I think I'm done. So what we're going to do is get the final mass of our test tube plus our copper sulfate without the waters. We'll get the final mass, and then we'll do our analysis. All right, I let my test tube cool down. Let's go ahead and get the final mass here. Open that up. Oh, these things are being funny. All right, final mass of the test tube plus the copper sulfate, 8.1, let's call it 8.13 grams, 8.13, all right?